Hi, welcome to our 6th demonstration inspiration video for the triangle project. Today we're looking at a very simple but cool technique using a tape resist. All you'll need is some simple materials, your templates of course, masking tape, painter's tape works best to remove easily, oil pastels, watercolor, pencils, anything you want. So you have your painter's tape and you can cut any shapes, strips you like from this. And I'm going to choose some triangles because we're doing them on triangles. And you just go ahead and cut those out and just put them aside at the edge of your table until you have a bunch. And then you just place them onto your triangle however you like in any pattern or randomly like I'm doing. What you're doing is you're protecting the paper, the triangle, from whatever media you put on top. So in this case I've got just white cardstock below and so hopefully when I'm done, whatever white is underneath those triangles will remain white, and I'm going to basically color in everywhere around those. So I'm just randomly going to go ahead and place that tape in sort of an abstract pattern. Okay, so I'm just randomly placing these on. The more tape I have, the more white is going to remain. You just want to keep that in mind. And you can use anything you want to color over. I would recommend, if you're going to use a lot of watercolor, something that you use a heavier paper if you want, but really you'll see that you can get a great effect either with whatever kind of paper you're using. Okay, so let's place those down. Just want to stick them, just make sure they're stuck down fairly well so you get a cleaner edge. Okay, so I'm just going to use some oil pastels here to see what I can get. I like to work with oil pastels for the blending and the vibrant colors. And I'm just, for this one, I'm not being too particular. I'm just kind of filling in. I'm going to use a few different colors to just blend together to see kind of what I'll get. And you just kind of want to go in between and make sure you've kind of filled in the cracks to get a fairly clean edge. With that, you will notice if you use watercolor or food coloring or whatever, you might get a little bit seep under those edges, but with the thicker materials like the oil pastel, you should be able to get a fairly decent clean edge on your once you remove that tape. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill that background in. Not worrying too much. And going right off, so I'm completely covering that triangle. You could again also do this on a piece of paper and then cut your triangles from it, but I kind of like to place the tape a little more purposefully on the triangle. I think it lends itself a little more to this technique. And go just get a little variety in there. And almost done. And don't forget too, this can be, you know, step one. You'll have your white space after that you can choose to doodle in or use another technique on. So then you just have to go and carefully peel off. That's a nice thing about having the tape go over the triangle. You can kind of have a little tab there to grab onto. I find sort of peeling off sideways kind of helps a little bit, so you're not coming right up and off. I kind of go to the side, and you can start to see that you're getting the shapes that you've colored in will remain, and you've protected underneath the tape, and it should remain white. There you go. Depending on the paper, lighter papers you may find will rip a little bit, so you just have to be a little extra careful, or choose something that's a little more hardy, so that you can remove the tape on that. Now the ones in the middle are a little harder because you kind of have to peel up that edge. And one more. And there we go. Just to show you, same thing using that watercolor and a paintbrush. Just going to add a little water down there so we can do wet on wet. You can just go right over the tape. The tape's going to resist it. Just kind of have fun with it. Get a bit of the color on there. And like I said, with some of the thinner paints like watercolor, they may seep slightly under the edge of that tape, but you should be able to get a decent edge. I have actually am using watercolor paper because I had it, but again, just like in our first video where we created the wash paper, you can absolutely use a thinner paper as well. It might not be quite as flat, but it'll work for our purposes here. And just do a little blending. I've got quite a bit of tape. Really, you can see I've actually taped up quite a bit, so I'm going to have very thin bits of the color showing in the end, and then I can choose to do something else with that white space, or leave it if I like it like that. Like it is. Kind of fun to just tape up a whole bunch and then just play around with it and let them dry and then peel it off. It can be fairly addictive, so I'm just gonna fill it in. And then certainly with paint like this, you would definitely want it to dry quite well before you attempt to peel off the tape. Okay, so I've dried this. I've done another one too where I kind of blocked off the shapes and done each shape a color inside. And now I can go ahead and take the tape off. And you can see, as I said, the more tape, the more white space, or whatever color your paper happens to be underneath. It just creates a neat effect. Like I said, it may be step one, or you may want to choose to keep it as it is. There's that one, and this one. When you cross over the tape over, it gets a little bit more interesting to take it off. As long as your piece is fairly dry, then you can handle it a little better because the tape sort of is a little more awkward to remove. But you can see I've got less tape. I've gone with less tape on this one, so the white lines kind of pop out a little bit more and become kind of highlights on this, which I kind of quite like that look, and I had fun filling in just sort of coloring in the sections. There you go. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this super simple technique, but as you can see, you can get a variety of looks. I've done some over the colored paper from our very first video, so you don't have to just use plain paper, you can use color paper. Just have fun with it.